This is a start. We know there's more to be done to support municipalities and to support the entire reopening process. In the days and weeks to come, we'll keep working with the provinces and territories on this and on a whole range of other measures.
The federal government answered pleas of help from Canada's cities today, sort of. It announced that Ottawa will advance infrastructure money to municipalities. Typically, it's given out in 2 installments each year, but the feds will give municipalities a lump sum payment for this year of $2.2 billion. That is, though, well short of the $10 billion municipalities are asking for. Catherine McKenna is the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. Hi, Minister McKenna. Good to see you again.
Great to see you.
Minister, today's money isn't new money. It's just coming sooner than municipalities had expected. The money can only be used for infrastructure, but mayors have come on the show constantly over the past 2 months telling me what they're short on right now is operating funds. Why didn't you address that part of the issue today?
Well, certainly I've heard from mayors across the country how challenging it is. Of course, lost revenues from transportation, public transit, and we know we need to be supporting them. And this is a first step. The Prime Minister's been clear that we recognize the tough fiscal situation they're in. And of course, we want to see them go forward with infrastructure projects that are going to make a difference in the short term, like public transit, but also long-term projects like wastewater infrastructure and high-speed broadband. But this is a first step, and we are working with provinces and territories. Provinces and territories are responsible for municipalities and operating costs, and we want to see them step up and partner with them. And it's been good. We've seen Premier Ford, who said we'll be there for municipalities, and I think we're working very hard on coming to an agreement.
Can I ask you to be a bit more specific? Because the Prime Minister said very similar things today, and I understand those discussions are taking place. I know they took place on, for example, both of the 2 past weekly calls with the Prime Minister between all the premiers and himself. It's been hard for us to get any details, though, for example, on what portion the provinces might pay versus the federal government, how such an agreement might work. What kind of details can you give us for people who live in cities watching right now, or for mayors, you know? How close are you to arriving in an agreement with provinces to deliver money to cities that they need just to operate?
Well, I mean, we're certainly ready to step up, and I think this is an example. As you've noted, there have been many discussions with the provinces. I also know it's not just the Prime Minister. Minister Freeland's had those discussions. I've had those discussions. And we don't negotiate in public, but as I say, we really need provinces to be a partner in this. It's in everyone's own interest, because if you take public transit, for example, we need more public transit rather than less, because people have to social distance. And of course, we want people to continue using public transit, not just essential workers who are using it right now and relying on it, but Canadians as they go back to work, as they have to get around. And so we're having those discussions. I think we're optimistic, but as I say, you know, we're showing good faith moving forward on this advance of federal funding, but we do need the provinces to work with us.
Yeah, I want to outline, for example, what Vancouver's Mayor Kennedy Stewart, who I think you had a conversation with today, he spoke to my colleague Rosemary Barton right after your announcement. He said, we still have to pay our engineers if we're going to build new transit projects. If we don't have that initial operating money, then the money just sits in accounts. We can't use it right away to kickstart the economy. So I take your point on what you're advancing today, but effectively the mayors are saying that won't get them very far, right? What they do need is to be able to pay the bills. They've laid off thousands of people, for example. So the Federation of Canadian Municipalities says it'll cost upwards of $10 billion to do so. Is that a figure the federal government is comfortable with?
Well, I mean, of course, we need to look at numbers and be mindful of the cost. But, you know, we are working with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. As you say, I had a call with Kennedy Stewart, Mayor of Vancouver. I had a call with Mayor Tory, Mayor Watson, of course. I'm from Ottawa. And we understand the needs. But we do all need to be working together. And certainly, like, look, we also still need infrastructure projects to go ahead. We've been showing flexibility, and I think that's really important in the face of COVID-19. And there's a lot of projects that municipalities have been looking forward to. So we want to support those. But of course, we do need to cover operating costs. We need to make sure transit workers are back at work. We need to ensure that we have good public transit, that people are able to get on public transit safely. And that's certainly our focus. And that's why we're working very hard, and we're having those conversations with the provinces.
So some of those cities, as I mentioned, have had to lay off thousands of people, 4,200 people in Edmonton, 2,000 in Quebec City. Toronto won't hire 5,400 seasonal workers. Calgary's laid off 1,800 people. Mayor Nenshi, Mayor Tory, Mayor Stewart have all said in various interviews that they would love to be able to utilize the wage subsidy. Why hasn't your government made that available to municipalities?
Well, once again, I mean, look at what we have done as a government. We've been there for Canadians. We have helped support individual Canadians through a whole range of programs. We've helped support Canadian businesses. We're helping to support different sectors, like the tourism sector that's been extremely heavily hit. And, you know, look, everyone has their role, and we definitely need provinces who are you know, I'm not going to be like a lawyer, but it is the jurisdiction of the provinces to really support municipalities, but we've always said we'll be there too. And so, you know, seeing provinces step up, we're willing to step up, and we're willing to come to a solution that'll make a real difference and is critically important to the safe restart of our economy.
Respectfully, Minister, I don't really understand how that answers the question of why municipalities can't avail themselves of the wage subsidy. And of course, some of those mayors point out that your party, along with other political parties, was able to access that wage subsidy to keep your employees employed while they were not afforded the same opportunity.
Well, I mean, every level of government has a role to play. And as we say, that provinces are ultimately responsible for municipalities. They often make that point to us in discussions. And so, you know, the support from provinces is critically important. But as I said, we're happy to have those conversations. We've had those conversations. I talked to all of the mayors that you've mentioned. And I think they recognize that this is a good first step. But of course, we need to do more. And those are the conversations we're having right now.
So again, and I take the point that you don't want to negotiate in public, but is the operating money left to the provinces? Like, is this the province's responsibility? Is that what you and your government are saying? I just want to be able to walk away sort of clear on what the role of the provinces is going forward, and if are you saying they're holding things up?
Well, look, normally operating costs are responsibility of municipalities and provinces. As I say, we recognize that we're in an unprecedented situation, that we never imagined we would be here. And this is having real economic consequences, and consequences on essential services like public transit. As I say, you know, these are the conversations we need to have with provinces, that we are having with provinces. And you know, we've seen Premier Ford. He has said we will be there for municipalities, and I think that's what we need to show. I don't think Canadians really care about different levels of government. They just want to see us all working together for the better of Canadians.
Yeah, I understand that point, but he also said, he did say that, but then today he also said that he needs the federal government to pitch in order to be able to do that. I'm just trying to figure out for our viewers who's going to pay what and when.
Well, I mean, I think we need to have those conversations, and we need to figure that out. As I say, operating costs are normally the responsibility of provinces, but we're willing to figure out a solution. We've already shown good faith here. We are investing in infrastructure across the country with provinces and municipalities. We're showing flexibility, and now we need to, you know, quickly get to the details, because we need to ensure we have safe public transit and that we're able to employ those workers and really restart our economy in a safe and effective way. Is
there a timeline for the conclusion of those discussions? I mean, we're 3 months into this pandemic right now, and basically from a week in, the mayors were sounding an alarm where operating money is concerned.
Well, I think as soon as possible. That's certainly the hope. And I think there are many discussions going on with the provinces. I mean, obviously, this is one discussion. There's been discussions around personal protective equipment and other elements of a safe restart. And those conversations going on. Now, you can be sure this is a top priority for the Prime Minister and as well as Minister Freeland.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Thank you, Minister McKenna. I appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.